At 15:15 hours, the temperatures had warmed up and 3 Ministry of Natural Resources water bombers commenced their operations. The air attack continued until 18:05 hours, dropping 60 loads of 5,400 liters of water and foam for a total application of 324,000 liters or 71,300 gallons. There was one incident of a heavy equipment operator suffering a cut ear when the rear window of his machine broke after taking a direct hit from one of the water and foam drops.
The Hagersville Tire Inferno. These scenes were broadcast around the world. For 17 days, a mountain of tires burned out of control in farmland southwest of Hamilton. Residents were forced from their homes. The fire was finally put out last week. The flames are out, but the legacy is yet to be told. And the people of Hagersville are joining us together now to talk about their fears for their children's health and their town's future. Good evening. I'm Hillary Brown. CBC at 6 is live on location here at the Community Center in Hagersville. We're here to discover how this community is dealing with life after the fire. For almost 3 weeks, the smoldering mass of burning rubber released a cocktail of chemicals into the air, the ground, and the water, including benzene, toluene, dioxins. The big concern now is how the environment has been affected and how badly. Ron Azawa is standing by near the tire dump. Ron?
The tire dump has become one big environmental question mark ever since the fire. The Ministry of Environment is in charge of the cleanup and the environmental assessment. Some say it's going to be a job that's even harder than putting out the fire.
We're going to have full body protection.
We're trying to devise a program to deal with the aftermath.
Safety rubber boots.
Yep. Sample results.
Air quality results. Impervious gloves.
Quick turnaround time.
Temperature range. And respirators.
It's 8:15 in the morning.
As the study continues, we'll find out just exactly what is down there.
These are Ministry of Environment scientists, engineers, and hydrogeologists.
Perimeter weld. Central weld.
There's a feeling of responsibility and pressure. The fire is out. It's their job to oversee the cleanup and to try to get a handle on the long-term environmental impact of 14 million burned tires. In the United States, there have been 2 major tire fires, one in Everett, Washington, the other in Winchester, Virginia. 7 years later, they're still cleaning up. Unusually high levels of zinc have shown up in local streams. There is still concern about water contamination. The Hagersville experience may or may not be the same. The cleanup is moving faster. The soil structure may be different. Right now, this is the situation in Hagersville. The surface runoff from the fire is being contained and controlled. A farmer's field just to the south has turned into a water treatment plant.
After the water is treated, it will go into these lagoons, then it will be tested to see just how well the treatment has been, how effective it's been. Complete remediation of the site will be in millions of dollars, no doubt about it.
Drilling rigs have been set up to extract cross-sections of the underground soil. This is the only way to tell if oily runoff from the fire is getting deep into the bedrock. There's no easy way to get answers. It takes time and patience. The groundwater moves slowly, about 1/2 to 1 kilometer a year.
So far, all our tests have shown that there's no contamination from the tire fire that has reached any drinking well, even the ones that are closest to the site.
But what's your advice to them? I mean, if you had children here, would you let your children drink the water?
The advice of the medical officer of health, and it is strictly precautionary, is that they should drink the supplied bottled water until he's personally satisfied.
Their biggest fear now is water, the lifeline of the farm.
When you pour it, there's little particles that go up to the top. You can see them right there. And it smells. We wouldn't even dare even try to taste it.
Yeah, there is a different smell with that.
We have beef cattle.
Beef cattle?
Yes. And my concern is the water. Eventually, I think that oil is going to get down into our wells.
Okay, let's move to Dennis Carr and ask him, should Mr. Rowe be worried about the water? Can his cattle drink the water safely? And are those beef cattle still going to be good for slaughter?
Okay, in terms of the well water, you mentioned my children, so I'd like to say hi to them and tell them yes, I would let them drink the water because it's tested 3 times daily and has come up clean.
And how about Bull Rose cattle?
In terms of the well water, we are still seeing it clean. We're testing the wells right around the site 3 times daily. The next ring of homes and wells we're testing once daily. So far, they're not showing any contamination from the fire, and we're drilling early warning wells right around where the fire was. And we're going to be monitoring those daily as well. If we see any contamination, we're going to be pumping those wells very hard, and we don't believe that any of that deep groundwater contamination would ever move off the site. That's why we're going to be here. You can hear the birds chirping in the background. Those are killdeers, which are also apparently nesting on the site this year, even before the cleanup had reached the present stage.
It's winter wheat field here, right?
Yeah, I don't know whether you combined it or just cut it down. Beautiful crop was growing here.
There are a large number of butterflies on the site, both white and admirals. In this area, right on up through to the north of the site, was a mass of flames with mountains of tires, rubber burning, oil being produced, and oil and water running off towards this area at the bottom of the site. This is one of the sumps that we've had dug to get out the oil that is in the shallow surface layer that we detected with those shallow holes that we drilled that you just saw Steve making the measurements on. What it is basically is a large square hole that's dug down through the shale in areas where we know there's oil in the vicinity. And if you look at the top end of it, you can see there's some oil seeping out there. And there's all this stuff here, which is, you know, sort of probably debris from the fire as well. What we do is we take water which is flowing out of the site due to rainwater, and we irrigate it. You can see the irrigation pipes just beyond the sump. So we're irrigating, we're putting the water in there, and it flushes the oil through into these sumps. Once we've got it out here, we suck the top surface of the oil out and put it in the tanks that I referred to earlier. And we'll just go over and show you one of those operations where we're sucking the oil out of the ground. And then we irrigate, we raise the water table back up again, and it's like we're pumping the whole shallow layer of the site, and we're actually like squeezing a sponge back and forth. We squeeze it, let it go, squeeze it, let it go, and that way we're getting more and more of the oil out of the cracks. This was taken Wednesday, the 12th of September, 1990, looking from the west end of the site. This is now where all the lagoons and so on were. There were additional sumps here that have now been covered up. And the treatment plant building and the lagoons are down across there.